All right, we are at 2696, written by Min. Min is the person who wrote the previous SCP that we read of theirs. It was 2659, which was the finback whale that basically takes care of any whale that's like, oh, it's. I think I'm not sure if I said during the SCP reading, but I did say it's kind of like Exit for whales. Yeah.
Assisted suicide for whales.
Yeah, it's just like I'm old now, I don't want to live anymore, and then just find
I'll
like
probably beach myself anyway.
yeah, just finds
kill me now.
finds another finback whale that's just like it like telepathically connects to them, and she's like, okay, well it's time for you to go, and
Yeah, right.
and just like yeah, kills them, make sure that the remains are used for good use, and then floats away.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great thing. Is when a whale dies, it's always going to be put to good use. It sinks down to the bottom and it feeds like, it feeds a community for like 10 years.
And now for Min, we're gonna read The Haunted Victorian Mansion of Dark Peak. That's a good title.
That's a pretty good title.
Which I'm gonna be sad that we're not gonna read the tale.
Story, yeah.
Yeah. So, just to give you guys some information as well, which by the way, the newest SCP video got uploaded just now, which is yes, the 2416, which is like the clown that dies in many dumb ways and then comes back to life again. But yeah, Howard told me, this is what he said, 2696 has 4 crosslinks, but I think the first 2 are just tangentially related to explain some old science concepts from other articles. The latter 2 crosslinks seems to be lore related. One of them is 2.9k words, but shit, okay. The other link tail in 2696 is 9.9k words. So clean out the 9 is that one. Yeah, so that crap is 30. Yeah, okay. So, like I said, basically what I'm gonna do, I will read the one that's 2.9k words.
Yeah.
And then the 9.9k words, that's gonna be read offline, and then I will attach the video.
Yeah.
Okay. Whew, let's see. Everybody's leaving. I think Steph and Mechanic fell asleep.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Steph is had a busy day, and Mechanic is like the same time zone as us.
Ah.
And sometimes it happens that they just fall asleep. Like it doesn't happen often, but it does happen sometimes.
This shit happens. What can we do?
And Casabon usually tells me when they go to bed, so. But yeah, because I haven't seen Mechanic say anything in a while, so I was like, okay, they definitely fell asleep.
They passed the fuck out.
Yeah, they passed out. Because Keller, special. Okay, we have another Keller on our hands. Special containment procedures. A 1 kilometer square exclusion zone has been established around SB2696 on the cover of a site of special scientific interest (SSSI). Civilian access is to be restricted due to its containment procedures requiring the use of classified paranormal technology. Access to SB2696 and its documentation is to be restricted to members of the Experimental Containment Research Group (ECRG), MTF 77, who you gonna call, and personnel of personnel of clearance level 4, 2696.
I think Ghostbusters is equipped to deal with the SCP.
I think that might be a bit much for them. Like, listen, I've seen the cartoons and I've dealt with a lot of crazy shit.
But nothing like that.
But I feel like SCP world might be a bit much.
Yeah. I think it's a bit much for most.
I would say Superman can handle it. Saitama can handle it.
Well, it depends on which SCPs they come.
But still, like Saitama's whole thing.
King?
Yeah, but Saitama's whole thing is like that he like, you know, throughout the manga, even though like the more fights he had, the longer they go. But it always like every enemy kind of like says like, you haven't even like shown me your full strength yet.
Yeah.
So it's like always like this gag that he never goes full power.
Yeah, exactly.
So I feel like Saitama could handle it because he's like a gag character, and gag characters are like ridiculous.
Pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
Powerful. Yeah, but now I'm just thinking about like the mimetic effects on some of the.
Again, we don't know. Like it's I think it's like 2 different worlds.
Yeah.
It's 2 like you could argue like it's kind of like the whole death battle rules. Like, yeah, you could argue like, oh, this person does not get affected by this because there's proof in their world that they don't get affected by it. But then you can also be like, well, yeah, but the world that this person is from, that it's, even though it's the same similar tactic or technique,
Yeah.
it still works different. It like affects different parts. So yeah, it's that kind of thing. Like you could argue like, oh, we don't know if mimetic effect would be either effective or not effective at all.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Just because they're from a different dimension, you know.
Yeah. I wonder as well, something like the flesh that hates or when they raise, for example.
Yeah. Pure esoteric containment procedures requires EZRG/422-2696 clearance. God, what the fuck is that? Okay, so we have SCP-2696 circa 1870. Let's look at the picture real quick. Which is fucking tiny for some reason. Okay. Okay, so esoteric containment of -1 resolves around reinforcing the existing thematic properties, and that must be the one that Howard told me is like just explaining like how the science work in SCP, so that we can definitely skip. Of SCP-2696 with a total of 256 MKV. I assume that's like volt. Automated etheric field modifiers AFM. Oh god, there's a lot of scientific talk already.
Yeah, right.
Units modified from stock Prometheus Labs technology, in particular electrothematic interfaces and sigil projection systems sourced from Project 5570 Electrical Exorcist, which again, I'm pretty sure he told me that's like another, just explaining the science behind it. And requisite memory store-based neural net software developed in the abandoned Project 552, number 5525. Oh, that's outside.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Somebody's like outside with a bell. I was.
You just walk outside. It's like a whole thing of cows just walking by.
We're not at that point yet.
Not yet.
That's one of those festivals that we usually have where cows walk by here, but not yet.
Not yet.
Automagus, if needed, AAFM units can be supplemented by additional esoteric containment. Containment working supplied by MTF 77, where it is recommended that additional workings adhere to the pre-existing schema of etheric field densities within SCP-2696 in order to maximize containment capacity and reduce informatic load on each individual working. Goddamn, this is very big words heavy.
Oh my god.
Aspect radiation levels inside and around SCP-2696 must be constantly monitored for deviations. That the current monitoring system as of July 1988 consists of a grid of type 6 etheric resonance indicators, each spaced no more than 20 meters apart. Should aspect radiation levels exceed a level of 1 kilocaspers within SCP-2696 or its immediate perimeter, all personnel to be evacuated from the exclusion zone, and MTF 77 is to be placed on high alert. Personnel must not remain inside SCP-2696 for more than 1 hour. All personnel assigned to SCP-2696 must don a minimum of a Class 3 spectral protection ward at all times while within the exclusion zone. Doctor redacted. Examining the circuitry of prototype AFM unit in 1969. And here we have a picture to look at. Okay, I think that's supposed to be like a soundproof room. But it looks like a bunch of spikes.
Jeez. Yeah, right? Yeah, that's supposed to be soundproofing for sure.
Should-1 attempt to leave SCP-2696. MTF 77 is to ensure it remains contained within the physical boundaries of SCP-2696 at all costs. Okay, so this is the one that Howard told me. This is like the 10K word one, I believe.
Ah.
Well, that's what at least he told me. Let me double check. The other link tail in they're cleaning out out at night. Okay, I have to double check with, because it does seem long. Can we like skip this one? No, Howard, we cannot skip this one. Howard, no, I never skipped a single SCP in the past 5 years. I'm not gonna skip this one. Description SCP-2696. Sorry, I told you Howard. It's because I was looking at his stuff. Is a mansion. SCP-2696 is a mansion located in the region of Dog Peak in Derbyshire, England. Hey, England.
Hey.
England.
Finally, there's one in England.
Whoa.
First there's America,
then
then
Canada.
There's Canada,
The interior-
now it's fucking England.
The interior of SCP-2696 typically induces mild claustrophobia and panic in individuals within 1 hour of entry. Prolonged exposure leads to an intensification of such feelings, resulting in severe crippling paranoia within 3 to 6 hours. Additionally, the nursery and the tower of SCP-2696 are subject to an anomalous effect which prevent all matter from entering or exiting the boundaries of either area. This effect does not extend the electromagnetic or aspect radiation.
Did you know that, so these soundproof rooms, anechoic chambers,
Yeah.
if you put a person in there on
Yeah.
their own,
Yeah.
like no sound or
Oh
anything,
yeah, you go insane.
for like an hour,
Yeah, you go fucking insane.
yeah, because you can hear
Your own heartbeat.
not only just your heartbeat,
And the blood flow and all that.
feel the,
Yeah.
you can hear the areole in your lungs expanding as you breathe.
Yeah, no thank you. I'm good.
I would love to go one day.
SCP-2696 contains one or more incorporeal entities that are capable of inducing mind-altering effects at close range. As such, they are to be avoided where possible and kept contained inside SCP-2696. Is that like the... Wait, so is this... Okay. Well... I was like, I scrolled down and I see this giant ass teeth. I'm just trying to figure out which one is the other tail that Howard told me about. I think this one, eh? Oh no, okay, this is no, this is the short one. This is the long one.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So that one I will read off stream.
Yeah, very.
Yeah, because otherwise I'll be here forever. So this is gone, but the short tail is here, which is the addendum. We shall read this.
Yes. So I will see you guys in a second.
Yeah, it's going for a smoke. Okay, so here we go. This is the -1-2 requires ECRG-/4-22696 clearance. -1. -1 is a translucent, intangible humanoid apparition physically resembling the late Clark Rossith, though it has been known to assume various non-humanoid forms during periods of high activity. It's always kind of creepy when like something that looks like a human suddenly becomes not human.
Yeah, right?
Previous incarnations have included multiple younger versions of Clara Rosif, an animated mass of decaying plumeria blossoms, and a motile column of bone and biological tissue. -1 primarily remains inside the tower of SCP-2696 when inactive, but will attempt to escape from the boundaries of SCP-2696 if its containment is not strictly enforced. Physical proximity to -1 induces psychological effects ranging from mild visual and auditory hallucinations to amnesia, catalepsy, and more severe cases complete dissociation of identity. Such effects normally dissipate following the treatment of Class B amnesics, though resurgence of symptoms has been known to occur. And here we have a picture of Clara Rosef in 1866. -1 is not a purely spectral phenomenon. Etheric resonance imaging of -1 showed that it exhibits aspect radiation of an order of magnitude higher than conventional ectoplasmic entities, approaching levels of up to 3 kilocalspers in intensity. -1 instead appears to be a thaumatic construct bound as to a self-sustaining etheric monopole constantly generating Elan vital energy, Eve, particles from an unknown source. How this has been achieved without the monopole instantly decaying is theorized to be due to the low etheric flux density within SCP-2696, stabilizing the monopole by constantly draining of its excess Eve particles. Consequently, -1 exhibits much higher level of aspect radiation and greater amplification of its mind-altering effects the further it is from center of SCP-2696, as well as greater instability. Should -1 completely exit SCP-2696, it is likely to undergo a rapid expansion of its area of effect, followed by violent decay of its etheric monopole and subsequent release of massive amount of backlash. It has been theorized to result in mass hallucinations and small to medium scale reality shifts within a 600 kilometer radius. God! And irreversible ego death in all sentient individuals within a 200 kilometer radius. So ego death. Ego death. It's a complete loss of subject self-identity. Like you kind of just like lose who you are. Oh. Okay. It's a unmanageable extreme. So far, let's see what Dash 2 is. Dash 2 A and B designates the skeletal remains of Miles and Necrorosive, respectively located inside the nursery of SCP-2696. Due to the inaccessibility of the nursery, the two instances of Dash 2 have only been documented via etheric resonance imaging and X-ray imaging of the nursery interior. Dash 2A and Dash 2B are normally inert, with the two entities lying in a fetal position at the center of the room. The two entities only animate during periods of high Dash 1 activity, so I assume Clara Rosef might be the mom. Maybe. During such periods, Dash 2A and Dash B and 2B have been observed to alternate between wrestling with each other, dancing in circles, and standing motionless at the door to the nursery. Okay, that's not creepy at all. Just stand by the door like... There's no, like, ghost kids. Enhanced imaging of the two entities reveals the presence of a carved symbol on the forehead of each of the instances. Instance skulls. Notes recovered from the study suggest a relation between the symbol and various experiments conducted by Henry Percival Rosef, in particular those concerning the manifestation and manipulation of thought-based construct. I can see what the symbol is. It's like right here. And what is happening here? What is this? What is this thing? Don't recognize the symbol from anything yet. And then we have show schema and history of SCP-2696 requires ECRG /42-2696 clearance. Schema and history of SCP-2696. What the fuck is this trippy image right there? SCP-2696 was formerly known as Rosef Hall, built in 1896 by the eccentric industrialist and occultist Henry Percival Rosef. It comprises of 2 stories and an elevated tower constructed in a traditional neo-Gothic architectural style. Its interior, however, features numerous unorthodox design elements such as sloped floors, dead-end hallways, protruding surfaces, and uneven twisting corner angles. Angles. God damn. It's worth noting that the unique internal structure of SCP-2696 was not an original feature of the building. Following the death of his wife, Clara Rosef, in the January of 1873, Henry Rosef would begin the first of a series of modifications to the mansion, centering on the library and tower. Notes recovered from Rosef's study suggest that he intended the 2 spaces to become a combined shrine of converged spiritual energy. Modeled after similar structure found in northern Chinese monasteries, and extensive blueprints attest to an elongated bell-shaped chamber lined with a complex 3-dimensional reliefs measuring almost 10 meters tall and designed with mathematically calculated precision. When his 2 children, Edgar and Miles, died in August of that same year, the already eccentric Rosef became even more so. In 1874, he commenced the remodeling of the other room of the house. According to the testimony of his former staff, Rosef obsessively insists that the construction of the modification adhere to his own exact specification, and often spent his days supervising the work himself. His nights were spent in solitude in the tower of the second-floor nursery, from which his employees often claimed to have witnessed strange noises and lights. The material requested to be used for construction grew increasingly specific and bizarre. One received lists and an order for 200 kilograms of ground-up stone from the Isles of Anglesey in Wales, and 37 meters of pipes made from a fragile mercury-copper amalgam. Interior detail of SCP-2696, date unknown. Let's look. I already opened this. Let's look at this a little bit closer. Fucking God. Where am I supposed to go here? Work on the internal modification ceased in June of 1876 when the remaining workmen refused to continue in fear of Rosev's increasingly disturbed behavior and numerous unexplained phenomena witnessed within Rosef Hall. Rosef promptly dismissed the remainder of his staff except his housekeeper and spent the following 2 months attempting to finish the construction work by himself. He would later perish in his own home, as testified by a group of investigators from the Royal Foundation for the Secure Containment of the Paranormal, RFSCP, who were investigating rumors of spectral phenomena in Rosef Hall. See Addendum 2. It sounds like he wanted to get his wife and children back. He wanted to resurrect them. Rosef was known among mid-19th century cultists for his investigation of Eastern mystic practices, most notably Chinese Feng Shui. Yeah, okay. It is theorized that the modification to SB2696 are based on similar principles of redirecting the flow of Eve particles, resulting in SB2696 anomalous effect. In particular, the etheric field within SB2696 is modulated via materials of alternating Eve particle permeability arranged in specific patterns and formations seemingly designed to attract negative qi. Or is it supposed to be ki? I don't know. Which corresponds in modern thaumaturgical terms to inducing a region of extremely low etheric flux density capable of disrupting human cognition. Subsequently, displaced Eve particles flow is channeled into islands of high etheric flux density surrounded by areas of low etheric flux density. This results in nodes of high thaumaturgic potential difference that greatly amplifies the efficiency of thaumatic workings placed within, at the cost of SB2696 being induced into a constant state of unstable equilibrium. When SB2696 was initially acquired, the nodes were already occupied by workings carved into the masonry, apparently designed to weaken and contain -1. The unstable nature of SB2696 demand that these workings be left untouched. And we have, of course, show additional material. Addendum 1, except from the diary of Henry Percival Rosef, recovered from inside of SB2696. They buried Clara on the 4th. On one of those dreadful winter mornings where the frost drips off everything like a veil and the last hours have yet to echo away the terror of the dawn. Even now, in the dim safety of my study, her voice still rings in my mind. As I speak, I cannot help but hear her echoes lingering at the edges of my words. Her memories, still fresh in my mouth. Welcome back. The children are asleep now, but I think that I will fear to hear their voices too when they wake. So far it sounds like he basically created he basically rearranged his tower to potentially resurrect his wife and children who died before him.
Okay.
It kind of sounds like that. Another mad scientist featured. Yeah, basically. Yeah. Because his wife died and he's hearing her voice and he's he probably misses them. And my question is, why did the children die?
It didn't say anything about the children.
Yeah. I feel like maybe he neglected them because he was so busy trying to arrange this new machinery or whatever in his tower to get his wife back. And even though he had staff, maybe they just didn't get taken care of really well.
Yeah.
We'll see. A correspondent from America writes to me about his work on the mind-made body. His schema is clumsy, inefficient, but it sets me thinking. Thought, given power, becomes form, but thoughts are transient, fleeting, merely action and words yet to be. They decompose, they rot. Memory, however, is altogether different. I recall the work of Ebbinghaus and his idea of savings. That was once forgotten is still retained and coded, engraved, if you will, on the neurons of the mind. And so I ask, what is a memory but a thought cast in stone? Self-experimentation has not been forthcoming. So much reminds me of her, yet nothing comes forth in practice. Ink and needle proves insufficient. My forehead stings. The remainder of the page is covered with complex geometrical diagrams partially smudged with blood. The Eastern mystic traditions of so he studied also a lot of Chinese mystical techniques, learning about feng shui and the flow of ki and all that stuff.
Yeah.
The Eastern mystic traditions of positioning and energy flow are one of great assistance. Sacrifice and equivalent exchange. We know what happened to the kids now.
Oh.
Yeah. Sacrifice and equivalent exchange mean nothing when a working can draw from the flow of the very air itself. So my attempts still end in failure. The tower auspicious energies are strong. I must persevere for her sake and mine. This children still speak in her voice. I fear I might be going mad.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yep.
Reasonable SCP. Indeed.
Reasonable. I think I understand what Zeno wants to say. It's like, as in, like, yeah, it's reasonable to be like, I want my wife back. I want the love of my life. I'm willing to go. I mean, that's what fucking Mr. Freeze is in Batman. Like, it's like, oh, my wife has some sort of disease and I don't know how to cure it. I'm putting her in stasis.
Yeah.
And I will do anything. I will become a criminal to like find the solution.
Exactly.
So, yeah, it's basically. I wonder if it's like kind of like that. So, I'm just going. I'm just thinking. I think I'm going to read the addendum 2 first. Initial recovery log, which is this one. It's not too long. Again, 2.9, like 3K words. Yeah. But yeah, I am interested in how it got recovered. The following document is the written testimony of Jitinder Chai Shankar, an occultist under the employ of the Royal Foundation for the Secure Containment of the Paranormal, RFSCP, detailing the initial discovery and description of SCP-2696 in 1876. It pleases me not to note that our party arrived at Roseth Hall in more than ideal circumstances, considering the startling events we were witness within. It was the 15th of September. And remember the 15th of September. That's not how it goes.
No, it isn't, and it's also in November.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's remember the 5th of November.
Yeah, exactly.
But it will still be
remember the
15th of September. And 3 of us, the American medium, Dr. Amos Barton, his wife, Aurelia Delacroix, herself an occultist well regarded in her home country, and myself, convent at the Wanderer Inn at around 2 o'clock, wherein we await the arrival of our scheduled transport. American medium, a potentially French cultist, and another cultist, I guess. Yeah. Walk into a haunted house.
What can go wrong?
Yeah, what can go wrong there? The Foundation has seen into fit to arrange for us a spacious Broham. Welcome.
Browham.
Perhaps as
Yeah.
Perhaps as a sign of hospitality to my foreign entourage. I cannot say which was sufficient to accommodate the 3 of us with.
Go on.
Yeah, without any trouble. The road was pleasant. Mrs. Barton remarkably enthusiastic upon the beauty and serenity of the Derbyshire countryside. Dr. Barton merely nodded in agreement, half lost in thought, and murmured instead that the view of the Alps from the Via Spluga would set anyone in the right wits to tears. All this changed upon viewing of Roseth Hall. From up on the moor it loomed, seeming to tower over us in spite of its distance. As we approached, I had a vague impression of an enveloped by a pervasive gloom. Such was the vision that the house impressed upon me on the first sight. I cannot begin to describe the source of that emotion, but I suspect it stemmed out a singular way that its architecture stood out from the surrounding landscape, like the silhouette of some obscene crown or horned beast. Mrs. Barton, recalling a study by one D.B. Lee in Philadelphia, attributed it to the unnatural magnetism of the place, to the way the marsh accumulated and stagnated the earthly energy within the house, as large bodies of still water are wont to do. Dr. Barton scoffed and claimed that it was merely the work of ghosts. Kind of funny to have no, don't think about science. Supernatural shit's happening.
Who cares about science at this point? Also, Broham is a form of horse-drawn carriage that has a roof over top of it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then the front parts where the driver sits is open. It's named after a lord who designed it.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Regardless of our sense of
sandwiches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Out of a sense of foreboding, we dismounted from the carriage with our baggage and equipment and approached the front of the house. Feels very much like, almost like like early 1900s, like home, like like Nosferatu
Yeah.
level of like Gothic horror. Like it's like, oh, like we like see this building and it's like weird. It's like tall but weirdly inviting. It's like intimidating, but like it's weirdly inviting me.
Yeah, it's like it's scary, but I kind of want to see more.
Yeah,
You know?
that's how it reads right now. Up close, it reared upon its foundation in full detestable glory. Its design was conventional, almost unconventionally so. Its proportions seemed to bulge out in odd directions and converged inexplicably at right angles, giving one sense that the house was escaping from its very roots, beginning from the inside out. The knock on the door was of a curious design, seeming almost as an afterthought or a foley. An oriental beast, perhaps a lion or a boar. Those are two different animals.
Yeah, right.
Its fearsome teeth gripping onto a smooth stone ring. Bracing myself, I pulled the ring back and knocked. Bring back fucking door knocker rings.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Boom, boom, boom.
So much better than a shitty ass like. Ding 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 ding. Ding 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 ding.
Yeah, you're right. It is
Yeah,
better.
right?
After a period of time during which we heard heavy, damp shuffling from within and a sound of slamming doors, the great door opened and we were greeted by a woman whom we presumed to be Rose's sole remaining housekeeper. I remember that as we entered the house, there stood before us an enormous black door, about twice as wide as I was tall. It was secured with a heavy iron lock. Again, very Nosferatu feeling.
Yeah.
Because like even in Nosferatu, like you walk in and you meet like the housekeeper who's like a single man, and you like enter this like tower like castle.
Yeah.
Eventually, the housekeeper ushered us into what must surely have once been a parlor, but evidently had been modified at the last minute into a dining room. A makeshift buffet stood against the wall, where a valiant attempt has been made to keep it flush with the uneven sideboard. In the middle of the room, a thick cloth had been draped over several square tables to form the impression of a proper dinner reception, aided by a spread of old silver, no doubt taken out and polished just for this occasion alone. Someone tittered. I'm not sure if it was the American or the French woman. We were at great lengths during which much was alluded to, but not directly commented aloud, by Mrs. Barton about the dreadful interior and and ramshackle condition of our dinner. Of course, the lady is like looking around like, oh, the cur is very could be upgraded a little bit.
Yeah, right.
I being acquainted with our host, yeah, thought vainly to defend him, citing the unfortunate circumstances of his wife and children. I explained to her that the grief was a terrible thing to bear alone, especially for a man such as Rosef, who had long been used to his own peculiar solitary silences and tempers. Dr. Barton concurred with my assessment, adding gruffly that Rosef was already an absolute crap of a man when he got to know him back at Oxford, and was not unlike those kinds of people who tended to make strange alterations to the house and conduct mysterious spiritual experiments upon the death of their immediate family members. No more was to be said to that, however, when a pale, thin shadow of a man promptly arrived at the door. Again, very Nosferatu.
Yeah.
Looking by all means like he'd aged 100 years in a day. It took me and Dr. Barton several seconds to register that, in fact, there was none other than our host and old acquaintance himself, Henry Percival Rosef. How he had managed to transform himself into this state, I could only guess by one look at his face, and I saw that he had bore the same eyes as other men I had seen in various places during my travels. In the ruins of a temple, in the jungle of Benares, in a blood-soaked prison in Liverpool, in the middle of a blazing pentagram in Aberdeen, other broken men who, in a fit of fervor, devotion, or grief, had perhaps performed the unthinkable, or witnessed the unknowable, and having the costumes dearly so. He greeted us with a great deal more lucidity than his appearance suggested, and no small amount of suspicion that the Royal Foundation has sent us to spy on his private affairs. Dr. Barton, in return, coldly assured Rosef that we were present in an entirely social capacity, and reminded him of his acquaintance with me and Mrs. Barton during the dreadful Cardiff affair of '72. Rosef turned His gaze to me and modern men like myself were not ones so carefree as to be sent on mere social visits by the Royal Foundation. His eyes met mine, and drew a breath involuntarily. His response did nothing to assuage the already uneasy atmosphere inside the dining room, but nevertheless, Mrs. Barton and I did our best to maintain an air of civility, as Dr. Barton continued to brood at his end of the table with his impeccable air of frigid amicability towards our host. After dinner, we retired to the neighboring drawing room, where we talked at length of politics, the election, and the weather. By unspoken, this is gonna be the typical, like, we went to bed and then we saw a ghost.
Yeah.
By unspoken agreement, it seemed to the topic of the Royal Foundation and matters of our profession were not broached upon at all. Throughout the night, Joseph remained for the most part taciturn, in spite of our repeated inquiries as to his health and mental well-being, which we took to be a worrying sign. Eventually, as the fireplace chilled, so did the conversation, and Joseph bade us good night. Today, as I pen this chronicle in the warm light of the Royal Foundation study, I find it growingly inconceivable that Joseph could not have foreseen the event of that night. I remember that he left the room with a certain kind of gravitas, as an actor would have departed the stage, or Judas before the Pharisees. Our purpose of visit was painfully clear, yet he invited us with open, albeit grudging arms. Neither did he do anything to prevent our eventual discovery of his affairs, nor did he dissuade us from trying with his temptingly mysterious demeanor, which seemed to conceal multitudes. I now believe that Rose's behavior at dinner tables that evening was not intended to be that of one who kept secrets. Rather, they were the actions of a man who wanted them to be found. Maybe to, like, get him, like, kind of like an scapegoat.
Yeah.
Like, give me a find a reason to get me out of here, kind of situation.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah. The housekeeper led us to our rooms, which appeared to be similarly refurbished quarters situated a few rooms before the dining room. This unorthodox placement of accommodation further stoked our curiosity as we realized that in the course of our admittedly prosaic conversation, Joseph had not mentioned nor gave Neri a hint the interior of his house at all. Of what lay behind the locked black door, we quietly agreed to investigate this at a later hour. That's where the demons lay.
Oh, yeah.
I slept uneasily and dreamt of mad things, of mazes that twisted into themselves, yet contained but one single unbroken path, of fearsome tigers that sprung from doorways rich in history, and of a singular mournful voice singing again and again of things long past, in whose repetition I discerned infinity. With a start I awoke, and found that I had drenched myself in a cold sweat. It was 2:30 in the morning. Ugh. Close to the witching hours, guys.
Oh, yes.
At the moment, there began a soft tapping at my door. Oh, here we go. A crack of dark, a candle flame, and the conspiratorial face of Mrs. Barton peeked in. She whispered to me it was time to go. We had but one candle between the three of us, which cast its meager light along the walls as we made our way to the entrance hall where we had seen the black door. Dr. Barton approached first, warily, and found to our surprise that the heavy, you know what?
Yeah.
There we go. Atmospheric.
Yes. Maybe we should put down brightness a little, just in terms of still with brain stuff, right?
Oh, no, then I will put the lights back on because I'd rather not, like, fuck around too much with the brightness.
Fair.
Okay. What was I? Warily, right?
Everything else is off. Just a little corner of the room. You could also turn that on.
And you can turn it on and see how you feel about that. And I should turn this off then?
Yep. Let's see.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's grand.
Okay,
And
okay.
everything else around us is dark.
Yeah. Whenever I'm here alone and read SCPs, I always like think there's like something around the corner.
There's always that little feeling.
Yeah, it sucks. Warily, and found to our surprise that a heavy lock had been removed. The door swung open and oiled hinges with a single push, and Mrs. Barton and I scrambled to hold it before it hit the wall. We elected to leave it open as we proceeded through the unusually long threshold in the room within. That's already a mistake. We left it open. Something can escape now.
Yeah.
Probably her. Probably the ghost wife.
Yeah.
Or the weight else inside defies description, but I will try nonetheless. Beyond the black door was madness. A corridor led to many small, closer spaces, each at strange angles to each other. Protrusions jutted from the walls in a medley of strange materials. At a glance, I saw a green soapstone, Corsican marble, the jagged inside of a geode, and a dark obsidian. The ceiling was dizzyingly high, and in places the floor rose to meet it. In an enormous spiked sphere, the color of bone, half-formed stairs that led to nowhere, hallways that twisted and doors that met each other sideways. At some point, Mrs. Barton nodded to her husband, who produced a pair of dowsing rods and led the way towards the source of spiritual disturbance. My vision blurred, and I began to see shadows within shadows. In an instinctive act of self-preservation, I invoked the names of God under my breath. A glance at the Bartons showed that they, too, were similarly on their guard. We located the stairs, the real ones, this time, and ascended them as the floor reeled away behind us. The dowsing rods swirled wildly as we reached the second floor. At that point, I saw that my breath had fogged up my spectacles, and I shivered, suddenly aware that we were surrounded by immense chill.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's the ghost cold spots.
Yeah.
My reaction was not due to the cold, for I had long been accustomed to the London winters at this point in my career. Rather, a spiritual manifestation has been known to feed off the energy laid in the air, inadvertently or not, dropping it by no more than a handful of degrees. And the fact that there was near freezing inside the heart of Rose's Hall indicated to me that this was no ordinary problem we were called to resolve. We're in the process of navigating our way through the convoluted hallway where it struck. At first, Dr. Barton rods sparked, then blew out in a flash. The candles went out. Suddenly, I found myself gripped by an immense nausea, and as I reeled, I saw two glooming points of light in the distance. Or were they close? Mrs. Barton dropped to her knees, a ward gleaming madly in each hand. There was the smell of burnt paper. Then the entity descended onto us in its full, terrifying glory. It was as if I had plunged over the edge of a great precipice, stretching before me, and inexplicably all around us was the vastness of memory. No, a single individual. I was keenly aware of our childhood years, a courtship, love, death, and birth. Our memories are finite, but the infinite subdivision of it into slices of the individual's perception, such that each moment can be seen in more than 3 different ways, at 2 different times, produces an illusion of experience akin to infinity. From this, I was able to ascertain the identity of the entity, despite it not speaking a word. That of the deceased Clara Rosef, grotesquely remanifested into not a spectre, not a ghoul, but something even less substantial, and pitifully so. The air screamed with her very name, and felt with every bone in my body the 2 glowing points of light, which I now took to the eyes of the sad woman, stood still in front of us, with an expression of fearsome melancholy. Somehow I found the strength to roll up to my sleeves and bear the marks imprinted upon my skin. The familiar sight calmed my mind, and I gathered all of my faculties to begin the incantation that would hound the summoned entity to my will. Nahi kaskit sanam api jattu. Yet the words faltered as if swallowed by the void. Every attempt I made to contain the massive energies released by the entity was met with an equal, if not stronger, backlash. Soon, I would not even have the strength left to maintain the walls of self-protection that was surely the only thing between me and the raging torrent that surrounded us. Through the corners of my eyes, I could see Dr. Barton convulsing. Blood streamed from the edge of Mrs. Barton's mouth. Ugh. Okay. Then, from a great distance away, the torrent ebbed. Words arced above the din, a low, clear chant that peeled away at the air. The eyes of the being that was Clara Rosef shimmered. The eyes of the being that was Clara Rosef shimmered, and appeared to fade in intensity. I instantly fell to the floor, gasping for breath, with marks on my forearms burning white hot into my bones. In my exhausted mental state, I paid little heed to what was about to transpire in front of me. I can only testify to the events that followed afterwards with no great degree of clarity. What I can conjecture now, in the safety of the study, is that the point of light did not fade. Instead, that simply turned around. So she floated away, yeah?
Yeah.
There were flashes of light and fragments of faces. I caught hints of High Enochian, Hebrew and Church Latin, delivered so quickly and so fast I cannot recall the exact contents even now. There was the firecracker sound of several words discharging in unison as the walls exploded into a series of rapidly shifting sigils. Silhouetted against the chaos, I discerned the shape of a tall, thin man flanked on his left and right by two smaller figures. Then the figures flickered, the man screamed, and all was silent. Looks like Henry.
Yeah.
He is kind of like containing his own wife now.
Yeah, it feels like it.
He brought his wife back in a spiritual manner,
Yeah.
but realized like it was a mistake.
Yeah.
And even brought back his children. So
Jeez.
Against chaos, at the center of all. Yep. I know not how I carried the bonds out through the black door and into the relative sanity of the entrance hall. The housekeeper asked no questions. She seemed to intuit what had occurred within the inner walls of the house and took to seeing the well-being of the unconscious Bartons. The remainder of the events of that night has already been well documented, so I shall be brief. After turning to us, the housekeeper was instructed to ride to Hayfield and contact the Royal Foundation via telegram as soon as possible. I myself managed to return to my room, where I collapsed on my bed and remained so until the arrival of the secondary investigation team the next day. Of the eventual fate of Henry Percival Rossif, not much is known. What conclusion remain can only be arrived through conjecture and not through objective testimony. Secondary investigation team found no trace of the man, but discovered instead a number of anomalous phenomena that have already been accounted for and documented in the archives of the Royal Foundation that paint a picture of Rossif before his death as a mentally unhinged and obsessively deranged individual driven by the death of his wife to commit monstrous acts. However, as I have been led to believe from the facts present, it was also Rossif who defended us from the onslaught of his tragic creation, and who sacrificed his life in return for our own sanity. A man cannot be defined in his darkest moments, nor can be defined in his proudest. I still cannot forget the entity in the house, or her light eyes that wept fire. Even now, 3 months after the events of that fateful night, I dream of her when I sleep, and wake up surprised that I'm even able to remain myself at all. Clara Rossif may be dead, but she refused to be forgotten. Signed, Jitinder Shankar, exorcist for the Royal Foundation of the Secure Containment of the Paranormal, 31st December 1876. Whew!
Jesus Christ.
What a tale, man. That was good.
Oh yeah, that was really well written.
That was really. I felt like I was reading like an actual like Gothic novel.
Yeah, a piece from a Gothic novel. Yeah.
That was real, and I liked like it's kind of like has the. I already mentioned Nosferatu.
Yeah.
Because it like has so much in common with that of like the whole like again going to a castle, a housekeeper's there who lets you in. You meet the host, and it's like this long kind of like dangly man.
Yeah.
Who like pretends to be normal, but you can still like kind of tell like something's off.
Yeah.
And then I also like how it has a bit of like Frankenstein, because like it's like Victor Frankenstein has the whole like regret aspect of creating the monster, and that's like what he also has. He's like, oh no, I brought my wife back, but she's not at all my wife anymore. She's like this unhinged,
near uncontrollable entity,
and I have to keep her locked up. And that's as Jitinder said, like, oh, he seems to be wanting us to like investigate and explore and try to get him like trying to like find what he created.
Yeah, exactly.
Which makes sense because it's like it might then he can then leave the world.
Yeah.
Like somebody else will take care of the containment.
Exactly.
He's kind of just tired of it.
Yeah. It's gotten too much for him.
Yeah. Okay, we're not fully done yet. Addendum 3, interviews with -1 contaminated personnel. Interview 2696 19750201 Priyadashani and Sanchez 3. So okay, do you want to be Sanchez and I'm Priyadarshni.
Priyadarshni.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I'll be Dr. Sanchez.
All right. Here we go.
Divya, how are you feeling?
Like hell. Whatever it gave me, it isn't working.
Can you elaborate?
It's kind of like a pounding at the base of my skull, and at the front too. It won't let up. When I try to focus on the pain, I feel like I'm focusing down a telescope. If that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. What about the hallucinations? Are they gone yet?
No, they're not all gone. Just residual visions, mostly. Like, right before you came in, I closed my eyes and I swear I was back in the house again. Like I was plastered on the back of my eyes. Except the lights were all on and everything looked, well, broken. Like looking through a smashed glass. The same for the others, isn't it? I heard. Or at least, I think I heard. Maybe it was something else.
I see.
Interviewer pauses.
Did anything else happen?
I think I saw her, too. -1, or Clara, whatever you want to call her. She was just about there. Subject vaguely gestures to the 11 o'clock with the left hand. Just 2 arms length away. Had this dress on and those small jeweled slippers. I knew they were jeweled because I looked down and saw them on my feet in one of the broken shards. And she turned and gave me this smile. Like that was all she had to give. I caught it in the cracks and I saw it reflected over and over again in my eyes. She was so gentle.
Div? What happened after that?
I don't know. I snapped back here again. And that's when you came in. And that's when I realized I wasn't dreaming. I was awake the whole time. I think it took no more than 2 seconds. So I can't remember more than that, Doc.
I understand. It's not just you. The others are confused as well. Is there anything more you need? Anything we can do?
Nah, we're good here. It's just turn off the lights when you leave. It gets so bright when I close my eyes. But because like she's like a spectral being that like she's like
Yeah, right.
yeah. Interview 2696-19870513 Carrington Lim 27. Okay, now specialist. Okay, looks like it's 2 different people of the Foundation.
Yep.
Okay, how about I'm Carrington this time and you are Dr. Lim.
Okay.
Okay, so we have Specialist Carrington. How it went? For the chase, you're just looking for the soundbite and how being mindfucked by the house feels like.
I'd prefer we called this an interview. Thank you very much. I don't know who Dr. Lim is.
I know. Well, you sound like you start sounding like actual, like the Nosferatu from the new movie. We must go. I have sent you the contract.
I'd prefer we call this an interview. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's actually how it sounds like.
Oh my god, I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Your wife loves me more than you. You must spin on it. Okay, sorry. Right, you are, sir. So where do you want me to begin?
On the record, your team was deployed after 2696-1 activated and blew the seals off 2 of the arrays in the library. There was another burst of Arad, and your team went dark. We want to know what happened next.
If I was character, I'd be like, who the fuck? Who let this guy become a doctor around here? Alright, I remember we made it to the damaged arrays without any issue. Numbers LO3 and LO5, if I'm not wrong. George, or Jorge, and I held the thing steadily while Molly traced back the runes, and we got LO3 up just fine. We just begun working on LO5 when our comm started to flicker and the alarm started blaring from outside. And I think to myself, well, shit, that's no good. We had first response before, but none of us had really been caught inside the house when it went live, you know?
Still you.
Oh, it's still me. Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Wait, who the fuck is that?
LBN.
Okay. So we pack up our gear nice and easy, trying not to make any sudden movements and creep our way back to the library and entrance when all of a sudden my ward just goes and sparks out. Then Molly ward's goes and Jorge's too. They were carrying class 5s for God's sakes. You've seen them before. They're heavy, powerful stuff. No joke. So when this happened, then we dropped everything and ran, but we were too slow. I saw her. -1. Moving down the tower stairs. She was moving, not really floating. Just moving, then BAM! She was right in front of me. Whoa.
It's fucking terrifying.
Reminds me of the end of the staircase. With the face like coming after you.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
One moment I was staring into her eyes, the next moment Jorge is pulling me out by my armpits, dragging me down the stairs, and that's when I realized the screaming was my own. Then the side effects kicked in. It's like you ever met a psychic, Dr. Lim? It's not pretty. The way it feels, that drinking straw butterfly proboscis feeling you get inside your head, sloshing up your insides. No. This is different. -1 is something else entirely.
Wait, I think M is actually L. It's a limb. The M.
Okay, sure, yeah.
I think it looks like it.
Weird choice.
Yeah, right? Fuck it, so I can keep the accent.
Yeah.
Tell me about it, Carrington. I am here to listen.
I'm here to take your wife.
I am here to take your
I want to move to your city to save me. I heard the water will do good for my skin.
And we should probably go on, because otherwise we just go to Nosferatu accents.
It will be very good for my skin. Maybe I could even wear.
Shush! I want to read. It's like a flood, almost profound. That's how she gets in. That's her, slipping into the grooves and crannies of your brain, getting in between the folds, and you remember what it's like to be her, that you've never been anything else. Everything comes at once, the smell of her hair, the touch of her voice on your skin, gently up the left of your cheek. It's her, she's the real deal, she's everywhere and anywhere at once in your mind. But she doesn't come in one piece. She comes in shards and ashes that doesn't quite seem to fit together as she does, as she should. I cried, you know. She could have been so much more. She's broken. That's what she is. Whatever he did to her to try and bring her back, that's not her. And now we get a little bit of Pet Cemetery as well, like
Yeah, right?
bits and pieces suspended in time, bound to a crumbling frame of whatever beneath that skin. And behind it, she's roaring and bursting and raging with the force of a dying star, spitting out the piece of herself that don't fit, that can't fit. And for a moment, when you look into her eyes, you are her. And you feel her pain and rage and 10,000 other things that you don't have a word for, because she's got nothing inside to feel in the way that you or I do. Nothing left but a whirlwind of shattered glass and memories.
I think I understand. Is there anything more?
No, I think I'm done here. Suspect passes. I'd like to take the meds now, if you please, and log.
Unfortunately, we have run out of the meds. You will have to leave. Shit! Fuck!
Nosferatu just going, shit. And then number 4, incident log of activation event. This is the last part of the... Oh, there's no interview, it's just like time.
Okay.
Shame, you won't be able to participate with me. Incident of event 6, 12, 1990, begin log. So I assume this is seconds, and this is minutes, and this is hours. I assume.
Yeah.
So 6 seconds, thunderstorms begin to form in the dark peak region. 12 minutes, 52 seconds. SB2696 begins exhibit increased aspect radiation levels with local readings outside SB2696, registering a peak of 0.67 kilocaspas. All personnel are evacuated from within SB2696. I'm actually kind of excited to read the longer tail, because the shorter one's already pretty good.
Imagine. Oh.
Yeah. 30 minutes, 20 seconds. Lightning strikes SB2696 in several places in quick succession. Surge protection fails, and 55% of the electrothalamic arrays in SB2696 are damaged beyond repair. The remaining arrays soon become overloaded and fail in the resultant cascade effect. Almost immediately, aspect radiation levels within SB2696 spike above 2 kilocaspers. Backup electrothermic arrays are powered on and MTF-77 is scrambled. -1 is noted to change form into a swirling, flowing mass of tattered white lace emitting a loud screeching sound. He almost sounds like a banshee.
Almost.
Because isn't that also the case when banshees like yell at you, like you cannot forget them?
Yeah, it's like kind of like drilled into your mind.
Yeah.
That horrifying scream, yeah.
And banshees are all Celtic,
Yep.
which is we are in England. Yeah. 35 minutes, 11 seconds. Backup electrothermic arrays do not appear to have any effect in containing -1. -1 reaches peak aspect radiation levels of 5.1 kilocaspers. Personnel outside SB2696 begin to complain of headaches and nausea. 40 minutes, 45 seconds. 77 arrives and establishes an inner and outer cordon around SB2696. Emergency rituals performing by specialists M. Cooper and J. Simos succeed in repelling -1 away from the front door of SB2696 and back towards the second story. Okay. However, -1 manages to mentally incapacitate 3 members of Theta 77, Specialist C. Carrington. Oh, that was the one I was reading. Dr. M. Lim. Oh, that was the one you were reading.
Yeah.
Okay, so he has a M in his name. It's just that for some reason they didn't decide to tell us.
Yeah, and they didn't decide to use the L.
Yeah. And technicians J. Vasquez. Keep forgetting women become banshees after death, so I just imagine that maybe he could have had sex with the banshee. That's a little bit far-fetched.
Quite the thought.
It's quite a thought.
I mean, technically, yeah. Maybe it could happen.
Well, the incorporeal though. Like you will just phase through.
Yeah, that's also the problem.
And then all that happens is that like you end up being traumatized.
Yeah.
It's banshees are like mini Cthulhu's that activate the insanity on you when they scream at you.
Yeah, exactly. They drive you.
Insane.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit. 43 minutes. Internal monitors detect that the door to the nursery has opened. 43 minutes, 6 seconds. Internal monitors detect that both instances of -2 have left the nursery accompanied by a large burst of aspect radiation and electromagnetic radiation in the gamma spectrum. Minor seismic tremors are detected within SB2696, likely to a result of said aspect radiation discharge. And also, banshees would fit more to the whole like Gothic
Yeah.
horror stuff.
Also,
Yes,
-2 is
the children,
the children. Okay.
Yeah. which we don't know what they are. They seem to like just be. It seems almost like they're like immortal zombies.
Yeah.
Yeah. 44 minutes 30 seconds. Both instances of -2 approach -1 with outstretched arms. Upon contact with -2, -1 abruptly shrinks, shifting back into its humanoid form. Okay, so like looks like the father created -2 to keep -1 more in check.
Yeah.
Yeah, which doesn't it also helps that the children of them both. So.
Yeah, exactly.
44 minutes 49 seconds. Local aspect radiation levels are observed to sharply drop. 2 instances of -2 lead -1 by the hand into the library and up the stairs into the tower. Come play with us, mommy. Come play with us. 45 minutes.
Come play with us, Charlie.
I was thinking of The Shining, and you were thinking of fucking Charlie the Unicorn.
Yes.
Which, by the way, I already told you, but if I was Charlie, I think after the first time hanging out with them, I would never hang out with them ever
Same.
again.
Same.
Like if they were like, "Come with us," I'm like, "No, fuck off!" You guys are
Tried to steal my fucking kidneys.
you guys are just like messed up in the brain. Like honestly, and if they like followed me around, I'm like, "This is self-defense." Just kick them,
Stab them.
stab them. -1 turns around to embrace the 2 instances of -2. It kisses each of them on the symbols on the foreheads and passes through the tower door and disappears. What reference are you guys talking about? Charlie the Unicorn.
Just look it up, Charlie the Unicorn.
It's like
Millennial
it's like yeah, early YouTube.
Yeah.
It's like very early YouTube, like 2010 YouTube.
Yeah, something like that. Well, actually, was it earlier? No, I
No.
think it was like 2010.
Yeah.
Charlie the Unicorn.
Yeah, look at the first episode. Let's see what if it's still from the original channel. But like, look at like the first episode release. It basically is like
2008.
fucking hell, yeah.
11th of January. 2008.
Literally 1 year after YouTube was a thing.
Yep.
Yeah,
Rated 7.6 out of 10 on IMDb.
yeah. It's basically like a unicorn who's like very like grumpy,
Yeah.
constantly getting like
Imagine like Squidward as a unicorn.
yeah, and constantly gets like annoyed by two other unicorns who are all like very, very optimistic, very happy. They constantly try to like get him to go on the adventures with them, and he but grudge.
Come with us to Candy Mountain, Charlie.
Come with us, Candy Mountain, Charlie. They're like, it's like annoyingly high pitched, and Charlie kind of just like goes along because like yeah they're annoying, so he just wants them to shut up.
Yeah.
And then every time he goes with them, he does experience a little bit of like a good moment,
Yeah.
but then like he just wakes
Followed
up.
by something horrible.
Yeah, he just wakes up to something like really fucked up happening to him. Like,
Yeah.
like yeah, I think in the first episode, like yeah, they like,
Steal his
like
kidneys.
they drugged him and then stole his kidneys. And I'm thinking, I think second episode or the last episode, they took his horn.
Oh my god.
So yeah, it's in the same of like Carl
Carl.
the llama.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's all like
exactly.
it's all in that vein of like YouTube time, where like a lot of like animation that was like pretty messed up if you think about it.
Yeah. Happy tree friends.
Yeah, but that was not in YouTube. That was like
That was something
that was
else.
like
That was-
actual TV.
Yeah.
um,
But it was around the same time.
yeah.
too.
So that gives over each of them on the symbol of the forehead and passes through the tower and then disappears. 46 minutes 2 seconds. Both instances of -2 hold hands and descend the tower steps. They exit through the second floor and return to the nursery. At this point, aspect radiation levels within SB2696 have returned to the baseline. For 6 minutes 37 seconds, door to the nursery gently closes. Above SB2696, the thunderstorm dissipates. Level 77 is auto stand down. Additional notes. Dash 1's activity was greatly reduced in the months following this incident. It is unknown as to why the surge protectors failed, as well as to how Dash 2 was able to leave the nursery and pacify Dash 1. Mom, please calm down.
You're not you when you're hungry.
Mom, we're scared of thunderstorms, and you bring the thunderstorm right now, so please calm down.
Yeah, just take it easy.
Have a Snickers. Subsequent investigation revealed that the interior structure of SB2696 was significantly damaged by the large burst of aspect radiation caused by the emergence of Dash 2 from the nursery. While some of the damage was repairable, several structures utilized fragile and or currently unobtainable materials that were unable to be replaced in full. It appears that while Dash 2 serves as a last resort fail-safe mechanism for SB2696, repeated activation will have the negative effect of permanently reducing the containment effectiveness of SB2696, resulting in more frequent and violent breach attempts. Given current containment practices and rates of failure of AFM units, it is estimated that Dash 1 will have a 47% chance of fully breaching containment by 2030. Accordingly, members of the ECRG assigned to SB2696 are to focus on devising more sustainable and permanent long-term containment solutions for Dash 1. It started off bumpy with the containment procedures because it was like
It was a huge amount of
it was a huge amount of containment procedure and it was like very scientific talk.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like at the end, because like of course it's all about ectoplasm and like this supernatural the science of supernatural stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
So that is like a lot of like terms being thrown around that can like easily just get you like confused.
Yeah.
Well, I think afterwards like it's like okay now
Now we're
I
getting
understand-
to the meat of it.
I'm getting to the meat of it. I understand it's literally a tower lived by the Rosef family. The father like brought back the mother as a Banshee and the children are kind of like immortal. Also almost like spirits.
Immortal undead, yeah.
Yeah, immortal undead. Probably again, as I said, it kind of like helped to contain the mom. And yeah, I just like the tale.
Yeah, no,
Because-
it seemed very well written.
It was really well written. It felt like very akin to like the Mary Shelley and the just old writings of Gothic horror stuff.
Yeah.
Which I really do appreciate that kind of writing. I think Gothic horror is just very like atmospherically pleasing.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, so as I already made like a bunch of references to how this is like very similar to Nosferatu, even Frankenstein a little bit in there, like the regret of like what have I done?
Creating a monster type of thing.
Yeah, I wanted her back, and now she is back, but she's not fully the way I expected her to be.
Yeah, wanted to create.
Yeah.
Like be the first to create a human, then suddenly realizes that this isn't human.
Yeah. I'm like I said, over the week I will read the other tale, which is 10k words.
Yeah.
Which means it will probably take me like an hour and a half. I will attach it to this SCP, and yeah. But now let's continue. We have 3 more to go.
Oh my god.
Alright. To clean out the night. SCP-2696. Clean out the night. I fell in love. I heard about it. Bit by bit. Bit by bit. I heard about it. Bit by bit. I heard about it. No. Bit by bit. One Ivor 66. That's the. Yeah, I know, Alarm. I already did the job. That's the devil's. The number of the beast. Wait. Still works. We're good. We're good. 2280. I'm actually kind of excited. To get to read this one because 2696 was, in my opinion, yes, the contained procedure was long and a little bit complicated to understand, but the general SCP itself, the description of the SCP, now that was molto bene. So I'm actually excited to read this. Which if we double check, it does say he should -1 attempt to leave SB2696. MDF 77 is to ensure that it remains contained within the physical boundaries of SB2696. Now, of course, I'm saying this because for y'all, it's attached to the original reading with my friend. But for me, 2 days have passed. So, this is my 3rd exorcism. Charlie's hands are on the dials of the kit, steady, rippled with reins, unflinching. From opposite him across the table, tracing out tensile dotted lines on the baking paper. I can't get my friend. I can't get Liam's fucking. Yeah, spirit. You know, I mean, it just I cannot get rid of that. On the thing in the jar, the humming in the air is not from the apparatus, but from my lips as I vocalize my control mantra. The content is less important than the intonation. Syllables must be low, soft, clear. Stitchal lines can only modulate the thing in the jar so much without the conscious direction of the will, best applied through extension of the voice. I hear everyone. I chant. Libby, God, Snake. The wind. I guess now we have I'll do that later. A wincing the thing is in the jar convulses, luminescent, cold green tissue paper, flicker, flap, unveiling, and a spark flies from the baking paper. Fuck! I go, and I try to focus to bring the pattern in, but the mantra is already broken and my hands go on without me, and the circle is complete before it is complete. A flash, the thing in the jar dissolves prematurely into a million field lines, rippling and exploding into the lead like a spectral miscarriage. Immediately, Charlie wrenches the dials down and yanks the wires from the jar. The energy in the jar dissipates into the room, and I smell the all too familiar tang of botched discharge, burned metal, and ash and lemon. Charlie's hands me a fresh sheet of baking paper. Again, the AFM is an old model salvaged from one of the earlier failed prototypes. Its only saving grace being that it fits on the kitchen table. The full ones are the size of small fridges, suspended around head level from thin wires, self-destructing and self-cycling. Got a little bow bun in my teeth. In the training kit, each botched exorcism necessitates a manual discharge instead. So while I replace the sheet and wipe away the ash, Charlie busies himself with sparking the thumb capacitors, disconnecting them from the cigar-shaped plugs, tapping each sharply by the rear on the edge of the table. Each makes a sound like a dropped penny as the invisible engine escapes. Invisible to the naked eye, but with the goggles, there would have been the distinctively clear silver aurora of natural atomic discharge. He lays them out in a row on the table when he's done, and one by one fits them back to the kit. Click, click, click. Then he dabs a conductive gel onto the pads and sticks them back into the jar. 3 on each side, with an extra squeeze to make sure the suction holds. When re-rendering the ghost is easier, Charlie flips 2 switches on the side of the kit corresponding to the training presets, and the jar glows back to life from the pad. Inward, shadow flicker, atomic energy mimicking standard issue type A ectoplasmic grade P. If I touch the jar now, I would feel an almost imperceptible coolness. They say our breath forms smoke in the heart of the house. Charlie places his hands back on the dials, tweaking the amperatures and voltages and casperatures ever so slightly, and the thing in the jar shifts into focus. A floating, swirling, neon green handkerchief. Charlie arches his thick brows at me to continue. I take a deep breath and put pencil to paper again. Like before, I follow the trace with my mind, taking in the edges of the energy, sensing the inevitable butterfly stain pattern through my fingertips and breathe and spine. Okay, visualizing the thing in the jar in its full technicolor AI glory. But at the same time, not really visualizing. Same way one sees dim stars in the night sky or the tip of one's nose. This time something catches that hadn't before, and in the sweet moment of clarity that follows, Charlie calls this the flow. This connects at the same time, doubling over the loop, and shazam! The thing in the jar disappears into a perfect silent harmony under the destructive interference of the traced and tailed digital process. Unfortunately, I seem to have lost the ability to move. The flow is done, bent through, but it sticks to me like seaweed, holding my nerves in place, and I find myself frozen in a brief, awkward catatonia. Help! I mouth. Charlie grins and carefully removes the pencil from my hand. 30 seconds later, when I'm composed, he pats me on the cheek and hands me the pencil again. Good job. He paused. Now. We share the drink on the rooftop. The moor stretches before us. The only landmarks here are the hills, and the hut, and the house. You, the last, have been blocked off behind us by a blue striped top draped between 2 of the calm's antennae. Duct tape under the top is a laminated notice handwritten in green marker, rule number 1. Below that, do not speak of the job. And then in smaller caps, the job is done, silence is golden. Kenny Rogers wafts from the radio, his voice lays with static. Got tonight, Charles. Don't think about tomorrow. It's okay because some of us are. I'm cross-legged on the floor with a shandy gaff. What the hell's a shandy gaff? Okay, hold on. We gonna look up what the hell a shandy gaff is. What's a shandy gaff? It's an older British name for a beer mixed with ginger beer or ginger ale. Oh, okay. The chairs are for vets. Joe prefers to stand gazing at the sunset. Black hair cropped close, a face worn so smooth you can barely tell she's 45. She surveys the horizon through her horn-rimmed spectacles with bottle in hand. It is her land, her eminent domain. No one disturbs mother Joe on the rooftop. Downstairs, she is still all smiles and band-aids and apologetic chop chop as you can see up here screen. George is Colombian and he isn't drinking either. He only touches the proper stuff, the firewater which lies snuck in a smuggler's crate at the bottom of the pantry. Everything else would be trout. Jorge's alcoholic appetite are the stuff of myth, hell with all the power of a hardy demigod. That is sparingly but in magnificent quantities. This is the group, if I recall correctly, this is the group that was it Charlie? That is the only one that actually escaped from this situation. Like they were in the interview section. Somewhere around here. No, it was Carrington. Specialist Carrington, I believe, was the one. Okay. Let's just keep on going. I've seen him down a quart of fire water in the night. We kept him away from the sigils the next day in case the sparks set his skin alight. That same man now launches easily on the deck chair beside me with pink lemonade in his cup, holder and my knitting needles in his hands, piercing together something with orange leaves around the edges. I think he fancied me once when I first arrived, though Joe and the rigors of the job didn't take good care of that. It's gonna take me a little bit of time. There's Rao, pensive in his armchair, dust already gathering on his beard. He looks to be 100 turning 1,000, but Joe swears he's only 53. From his intuition claims. Rao drinks the same as Joe, but in sips so spowling and small you could hardly tell he's moved at all. He stares into he learned from Drax. He stares into the sun, fingers tightly gripped on the edge of his chair, and his mind is a million light years away. Joe tells me that behind the vacant gaze is implacability itself. But the man has the mind of a mountain. I do not disbelieve her when I look into his eyes. Hell hath no fury to scathe him. The creation faces him not. But he's part of the family, and family means a tradition. So, he's here with us too. Only in form and not in soul. An old Charlie character. That's okay, so it is Charlie. The legend slouched like a lion, a silver chair behind us. The mage from Mississippi. Cigarillo clamped hard between his teeth, billowing smoke and dreams of more. Blue top framing his great shaggy gray mane from behind. Tapestry fit for a vagabond king. This is one thing I will say that I like about 2696's writing, especially in the tales. We already talked about this with my friend Liam. That it's very gothic. It's very like Mary Shelley type of writing, and I'm digging it. I love how it's being described. This one feels a little bit more modern compared to the other tale, but still pretty solid. He says he was born with Rao in the same batch as the ECRG's first mystics, made a whole man anew from visuals and psychotropics in the files of Side 20. At least there's much more of him left than Rao, and he's better than the teacher to boot. In his head, he is every cantrip, pattern, chant, and spell known to the Foundation's repertoire, and a few more beyond that. Most of his own inventions, everything we know we learned from him, and thanks to be God, he's here with us still. I actually just realized I missed something. This one. Hold on. Okay, I think we're good. So this okay, no, actually. Give me a quick second. Okay, this should be good. Yeah, okay. So that we can most of this on mention. New guy, however, isn't here. Orchid figures that he's probably writing and rewriting his notes in his room. Joe simply rolls her eyes. I think he's new and a stickler, and leagues above our pay grade too. Going by the fresh new boots and hiking gear, Joe found him when he arrived, scowling at the mud on his knees. I think he'll set it in, given the time. I mean, that's probably how almost every new person in an MTF group must feel. Charlie reckons he's not here because Foundation protocols forbids him from drinking on the job. Oh, okay, yeah, gotcha. Charlie reckons he's not here because Foundation protocol forbids him to drink on the job. Technically, it forbids us too, but first day here, first thing you learn, you're one of us now. You're ECRG, you're the cooks and the cranks and the madmen, the twitchy witches with the toys. Now here on the okay, so yeah, they're not MTF, the ECRG. Correct. Sorry about that. Now here on the moor with the nearest site, a whole half day and a world away by battered white national parks fan, you start to appreciate any company at all, because the cooks, the cranks, and the madmen are what you got. So it's the HUD now. So it's the HUD now, not professional site 2696, and more importantly, it's also home. So balls to operational protocols and drinks on the roof till sundown. I can kind of get down with that. I don't drink, but I can kind of understand that mentality. It's like, hey, we work here, but in the same time, that can also backfire on you because you're not careful with any anomaly. They might just, breach while you're relaxing on the roof. Training again, the image is key, Charlie says. Creating the image is one thing, but the picturing of it, holding of it in your head, that's what the magic happens. Magic in its purest form, lines of field visible through killian transistor coils and third eyes alike. That's all it boils down. lines are sealed. In most cases, the baseline humans has no need for the techniques of meditation and visualization and channeling. But Charlie and Joe and Rao and Jorge and I do not work with most cases. Our case is the house on the moor, the house numbered SCP-2696. Our case is holding the lady within. The lady within must never be let to leave. And that's probably why I didn't need to like train all this digital stuff. My image is the screen. 1 year ago today, Charlie showed me my first etheric resonance image in a dusty theater at the bottom of Site 88. It was salvage technology, piano-sized beige plastic carapace, and multicolored wires and dials. And have been set up with a jet black dish blossom in the top, pointing straight above. Watch very carefully, he said, turning the machine on in front of me. A television screen flares in the dark. I think I gave Charlie like a watch very carefully, he said, turning the machine on in front of me. Television screen flares in the darkened room. I squint and see numerous floating shadows, teal and white and gray, floating in the deep. Footsteps of soul. Footsteps of soul. I moved my hand over the jet black receiver. The display rippled with white like the froth of lakeside waves. The method is such. First, I clear my mind. Then, I stretch the scene in memory and expand the screen until it fills my vision. On the screen, I see myself and plot to fill lines under the image of myself, mapping the curves half by guesswork and half by rule of thumb. The colors I choose are teal and white, and once the curves are set in their polarity, then I can begin channeling. Of course, the curves aren't real. Channeling is not a process of conjuration or sorcery. What it is are a set of techniques created to amplify, strengthen, and manipulate the effect of somatic phenomena. The process is somewhere within the foundation ranks of true practitioners of the craft, real wizards and witches, type blues. Their existence closely guarded by security clearance and pain of death. I don't disbelieve her, but it doesn't give me any less reason to practice. There's always something romantic of the idea of having a fighting chance against the unknown. Besides the aptitude, the channeling itself is also a closely guarded secret, fueled in 5 qualified for 77 training a year. Therein lies our grim, unspoken creed. Not us, who? If I won't, who will? So when the lady awakens and the alarm rings and the meters flare, it's time for us to go rig up and go with patterns etched on placards by the hundreds in every vest, pocket, and sleeve. Some are mechanics, tools, others are working to dispel and defend. More are sigil batteries to fuel the workings. Most comprise the things and dissipators and ether recyclers, just to make sure Charlie and Joe and Rao and Jorge don't explode into smoke the moment they sub-vocalize their words of power. The lady in the house awakens. We need every advantage we can engineer. Push her back beyond the doorway, but enough time for the machine to be prepared or working to be cast to steal her away for another season or more. A dozen exorcism in, and I think I've gotten the hang of banishing the thing in the jar. 50 more, and I might not even need the baking paper anymore. On the job, Jolly vocalizes gestures and pictures working, resolving into spells and fights the monsters with his mind. That's the goal. If I can do that with the thing in the jar, he says, I might remotely be prepared to survive. Last night, I emptied the jar in 2 minutes flat, slow unbreaking from start to end, new personal best. Jolly was proud. Small goals, small wins. Now that is enough. Okay. June 5th, midnight 30, my first breach event. Much to Charlie's chagrin, I barely only mastered sub-vocalizing my workings in only 2 at a time, so I've been useless in any regard. That's how I find myself crammed into the control center, really a 3x2 meter space in the basement of the hotline to the grim with video screens and oscilloscopes and readouts and dials. That's why I say dials like that. All connected to a monstrous bundle of hermetically shielded TV wires winding all the way upwards to the roof. The new guy is squeezed next to me, tight against my shoulder, all 1.5 meters of twitchy bones in contained position, and inexplicably still dressed in immaculate lab attire, white coat and laced shoes and all. 3 in the morning, for Christ's sake, and how? I don't rightly know how the monitoring setup works myself. That's what the new guy is for, with angry black cables flowing out of the headset fixed onto his face like a vice. His fingers flying across the dials. Again, I say dials weird. Fingers flying across the dials, and conjuring images into the screen in dizzying false color flashes. One. I ask him what's going on. He ignores me, hitting a series of switches on my left and switches something on his headset, letting it unfold and slide up above his forehead. Right now, that is Team A. Team Jones pointing to the largest screen in the center where a dull green figure crouched against a male storm rainbow. Organized a silhouette. Charlie in the front with his shaggy mane tied up in a ponytail behind his helmet. Plaid head with gold protective plating etched with the 99 names of God, barely legible in the flickering. Jorge further behind, hunching onto the weight of his toolbox. Both men are trembling. White light blazes from both of their hands, snaking upwards to the hot spots at the armpits, waist and thighs. No doubt from the overclocked visual batteries. Ahead of them hangs a Mark IV AFM, cloaked in its own flickering light, pale yellow sparks arcing ominously across its symmetrical geodesic shell. I think this is the new guy. Carrington Vasquez device. The device E01 just down the hall. I've amplified O2 and 12 to compensate. Expect heavy turbulence. The new guy flicks another switch, throwing the shadow of the empty stairwell. Samos Rao, no sign of Dash 1. Stand by. I gulp. How bad is it? The new guy taps it out twice and the big screen flashes through another pattern, this time recognizable as a 2D A-rad tender overlaid render, not tender. Overlaid onto the floor plan of the house. Multicolored field lines emanate from the center, dissolving at the edges into sparks of deep violet that crash into each other and fade mutually into black. In one corner of the first floor, however, the rainbow escapes, propagating into starbursts of yellow that arc across the screen, looping around and bursting into the violet, staining it an ugly brown. HF leak, he mutters. Oh wait, HF leak, he mutters. Storm capacitor second lost in E01. Symmetry is broken in three places, not pieces. They can fix it, but they do not have long. His right hand gestures to another screen where waveforms spirit hard like breaking bread. Is there something I can do here? No. He brings his head back, takes it back, flips the left switch again. In a different pattern, the screen flicker back to the psychedelic overlays, field patterns and projections. 1, 2, 3, switch. 1. But I noticed the feet of Charlie and Hulk at the corner of the setup, the shadows sliding into the storm. Thanks, I whisper, even though I know he can't hear me through his tone of atomic data. As in response, it comes crackle again from Charlie. No problem, though. And shortly later, I see it. Going in. O2 and 12 at maximum. Rebels the new guy. My screen flares to white. 5 seconds of silence and crackling Joe's voice this time. And I swear I can taste the fear beneath her calm. Charles? He breathes. It's here. Well, actually, let me do that again. Charles. Breathe. It's here. And the screens explode into a firework. In the blizzard forming on the screen in front of me, I see Charlie raise his right hand, his left hand clenching. Jorge, the interference grows worse, threatening to blot out the feed entirely, and before it goes out, I can see that both of them are screaming. The new guy shivers into action, intensify with his controls, flicking between screens reflexively now. His headset starts going off like a Geiger counter in heat. Clack, 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 clack. Oh. No doubt, cycling through the massive wave of data flooding the AR eyes. I smell burnt metal and lemons. Feet are slacking faster now, flicking from spectrum to spectrum, far too fast for my eye to register. Abruptly, the new guy speaks with preternatural calm from a million miles away. Redirecting atomic gradient, Team B, fire on target position. From somewhere, I hear the roar of wiring discs and crackling sparks as more than 200 field modifiers strain under the astronomical load. He caps off his concerto with a final flourish of tweaks and flicks, ending almost as an afterthought with an arpeggio over the left switches once again. The rainbow storm on the main screen ceases and switches to a dull brown shadow show. I can barely make out the front door of the house. The feed's been dimmed, exceedingly so. Like watching a sandstorm through sunglasses. Double doors have been thrown wide open, and in the light that emerges, I see two figures, Brown and Joe, looking like dead leaves at the campfire. Goes down into a staggered high kneel, body hunched over, hands clenched into a tight fist. Brow stands tall against the storm, feet at an angle, his right hand held in front of him, open palm facing the doorway. Faint light streams from Joe's hand. It forms rivulets of field lines that blow backwards in the wind, then bend weakly at first and strongly into a steady trickle against the flow straight in the shoulder of Rao's right arm. And in front of them, something coming down the stairs, something with the head of a woman and the body of a shade. Fractal brilliance peeking over the threshold, burning pure white even though the new guys filled it deep. I see her two eyes open like magnesium flares. I see the terrible mouth gape vast with unmodulated A-Rad, and Joe is instantly thrown onto her haunches, nearly breaking her connection with Rao. Rao, on the other hand, looks to all the world like a man encountering a slight breeze. His hand remains outstretched, poised, ready. Joe's yelling something I can't hear. From the way her jaw moves, it looks like a lot like the word "now." The lady stumbles towards the open door, leading madness and light. Rao shakes, body rocks back on its heel, and the entire screen rends inwards as the combined energies of the house are channeled into layers and layers of workings running parallel in Joe's head, sparking her scalp tattoos, blistering along her aura, and until Rao himself rolls into action, transforming before my eyes into a phoenix. A waterfall, 10,000 points of light that blasphemous fingertips in the open door of the house, dragging the lady straight in the center of mass. Beam blossoms upon impact as the field overcompensates, rebounding excess discharge into silvery sparks and spreads across the screen like a spiderweb. They're having a full-on Dungeons and Dragons moment in there. That's crazy. On another screen, the blizzard clears to a mere storm, and now Jorge is running, with Charlie backpedaling close behind, arms outstretched to defend against the burning backlash. Hands reflexively spelling out defensive workings in strokes of white. Jorge reaches the device with his toolbox half open and wrenches coming out the bottom. With his bare hands, it hits the ground in a shower of green firecracker sparks and merges with the flow. Oblivious to the supernova around him, Jorge produces a first-size cylinder from his toolbox and slides it into the bottom of the field modifier with the precision of a ballerina. It twists and it clicks into place on the main screen. Rao spends a last burst of etheric energy against the lady, toppling it back across the threshold. It collapsed into a heap. Almost instantly, something pops. The new guy reaches forward with both arms and twists two large dials counterclockwise back to zero. On the main screen, the brilliance fades to black as Joe crawls to Rao and cradles his body. Jorge drops to his knees, gasping for breath, and a cloud of sparks. Charlie, armpits smoking, staggers over to Jorge and pulls forward on the side of his vest, discharging the overloaded digital batteries in a puff of silver steam. He then does the same for himself, first on his left side and his right. He turns to the camera and gives a weak smile. All good up there? Return to the side for debrief. The only thing the new guy says to the comms, he slides himself away from the console. With shaking hands, he peels away the tether from his face. Are you okay, Adventure? I'm fine, he replies, and this time his voice is softened like a child. I didn't know you could run the harbor like that. That's amazing. He doesn't reply. I hesitated a little and then placed my hand on his shoulder. Thank you. What for? For doing whatever it was you did. Brushed away my palm and staggered to his feet. It's my job. I did what I'm supposed to do. He squeezes me in. He's still shaking hands, hoists himself out of the basement, one step at a time. Damn. Yeah, because I can't imagine how fucking insane it must be if they all fail. It would have been like 3 to 4 deaths. What I still consider a Banshee would escape, probably causing more chaos. So better. In the evening of my first day, Jorge slides the tape into the VCR and hits the play button with his thumb. Screen flickers to life, a white walled pantry stool, clock on the wall. It's 6 in the morning. Hands adjust the camera, and then the woman sits in front of it, jacket tied around her waist, tank top bearing aged tattoos on wrinkled skin. Her long gray hair sweeps down to her waist. She sweeps it aside her face, sits feet astride across the stool and begins. My name is Masa Supan. She growls. Are you watching this? I'm already dead. There's a stillness for a few seconds, and something happens. The screen flickers, the light changes, and now Masa stopping over low, slowly laugh. Yeah, I can see this. Take two. The screen buzzes and Masa is seated again, this time with her hair tied up. Look, You there, seeing this now. This is me. My name is Master Supan. I'm 62 this year. I'm a witch. I made a mistake, and now I'm dead. I'm sure you miss me, a lot of you. I guess you're playing this for a reason. If you're watching this, I've gone down fighting with curses on my lips, and that goes between my teeth. Or I slipped and fell in the bathroom. You go either way. Regardless, I'm dead and gone. I just want you to know that I'm glad to be rid of you. Yes, every single one. Focus smiles. She was a real sweetheart. Vicky on the screen leans in. She breaks into a sly grin. And between us all, I can't think of no others than I would rather have served with. Stella 77, here's to us, friends. Here's to duty on the job till we meet again. He jumps. Now leaning back again, palms on her knees. To whoever's coming in after me, got a lot to pick up. They come in here, some of us born with a gift or a spot, but we're all in here for a reason. Reason being there's no one like us in the whole damn foundation who can run the job like we. You're going to see some shit, my friend. You're going to loathe it. You're going to go down screaming and trying to claw your eyes out. And when you're done, you're jolly well going to go get back up and continue. Because you're one of us now. Best of the best. So then we'll act like it. Not the process, ruminating. You know, I used to tell Charlie, back when we were new, I told him, us all better be going to hell when we die. You know why? He rings the camera close. Because the devil will never know what hit him, whispers Jorge. Oh wait, because the devil will never know what hit him, whispers Jorge, along with the woman on the screen. Reaches up and pauses the page before it reaches the end. Monster's face hangs in the frame, wry, grin, yellow teeth, raw, fire burns, behind fire, fierce blue eyes. How long ago, I asked? 6 months before you. Replacements here don't come easy. So, how Focus walls, as part of the wall had collapsed and we were going to fix it, did nothing wrong. Clara just did something we hadn't seen before. Charles couldn't shield her in time. Got the rest of us out safely, so I asked how he did it, but he said he'd try my brain to even try. I see, said the woman on the screen. I tried to imagine what she was like when she was alive. I tried to imagine what she would have been like in her final moments. She had been lucid in the heart of the house. The fires still have burned even then in the massive and cold. So, do you all have a tape? I asked. Charles and Joe have tapes. I don't know what to put on mine yet. And Rao is going to leave one. He probably rise from the dead and come back and the last words himself. He enunciates the last sentence with dramatic effect. No, but that doesn't work, I laugh. He just sounds scared that it might come true. He rests his head in his hands and mocks with endurance. That it might. I lean in with him. Some of us. Master's face continues to burn. I reach for the set and turn off the screen. So, will I have the tape too? Now his focus turns to that. He throws his head back and out, wearing his yellow teeth. Not today, chica. Maybe next time. But you don't know what you're asking for. He smooths his hair down, comforts himself. Trust me. You really don't. Charlie comes in with Jorge and Rao around his shoulders, with Joe trailing behind. He's a mess now with his undone hair hanging down his face, drenched with sweat. A trail of dry blood takes his upper lip from his nose. The truck's still loaded. Truck's still loaded? That's all he says to me. Wait, no, he says, it's not a question. Truck's still loaded. That's all he says to me. He lets Jorge and Rao down on the floor unceremoniously, and collapses between them and himself. Joe enters last, dumping the discharge wall's vest into the center of the room, and pointing towards the armory. Cleanse tag, 6-pack, now. I nod and fetch them for her as fast as I can. I throw them and she catches it, popping the first one out of its blister pack and unrolling it to its full length. She bites one end between her teeth and squeezes, coughing out excess stomach energy that stains the rest of the pack dark brown. I pass the remainder to Charlie, who scampers up onto the couch, buying 2 tags at once. With each to his cough, I feel the air in the room becoming a little warmer. I move to do the same to Jorge. It's all when he's unconscious, so I pinch the end and feed it on his lips. The working takes cold and slowly the color went to his face. Where's the new guy? Asked Charlie, his height in his voice. Also very concerned. I shrugged. He went back to his room as soon as it was done. I didn't think he had much left to do anything else. You know, he almost died. Rose says, kneeling down to attack out the first one. Flushes back, almost leaves an audible hiss. Yanks it out and puts the freshman in instead. Who? The new guy? I asked. Charlie raises his finger. He means how? I know the tags look like shit, but he'll hold fine. Poker that took the brunt of it this show. I thought Poker looked fine, I say. He didn't invent the batteries in time. Groans Charlie from the couch. Damn fool could have drained this all fast if I hadn't gotten to time. Joe tucks the second tag free from Hal's lips. It, too, has been drenched pitch black. Gives him a third. This time, the stain bleeds a healthier looking brown. Well, it's only his third breach. Besides, you aren't him, Charles. He isn't us yet. He'll have to be us anytime soon, Joe. There's only a couple more times doing this until we, he lifts two fingers to the scissors shape, cuts across his forehead. Also, like, foundation, technical hands, signal, cognitive hazard, mind affecting. Ah, okay. Joe rolls her eyes. Don't be so dramatic. So when's Molly going to be good enough? Didn't you say you had away by May? I raised my hand in protest. Hey, I'm still here. I've been practicing. Don't drag me into this. Charlie smirks. She's right. Get up. John stood up and throwing his head back. Anyway, it's partially my fault as well. But has to be on to run remotely and focus on point defense. Point defense? In that mess? So Chuckles, you didn't burn out an entire class 4 in vain just so you could show off. I swear it worked in the Christmas breach of 68. Being a discharge too. Lola shakes her head and smiles at me. Maybe one day you'll be like him. So I ideally hope. He plucks the last tag out of Rao's mouth and crumples it up with the other used ones. Come, help me move him to his bunk. Yes, ma'am. And Charles, when you're done moping, you go right. I'll move forward, get back to his. Make sure to check for those burns. Fine. So he pinches the bridge of his nose and snorts into his used pack, filling out the last of the congealed blood. Just make sure someone clears out the truck before we go to sleep. Joe doesn't reply. She picks up Raoul's body from below, his arm pushing towards his feet. Together we hoist him to his room and place him down on his coat. On his cot. Okay. He's somehow much lighter than I imagined. Consider his meager frame. He's right, whispers Joe to me once we're out of Chloe's side. The door is ajar, casting a light on the narrow circle around the cot. About what? I asked. I reached over and viewing Charles' legs that they lie a few minutes on the cot and draped the thin yellow blanket over them. This job, between the three of us, I mean, each time we go out there, each time we go out to put her back in, it takes years of our lives. We don't even have many of them left. You know that, don't you? Is that why he's here? I asked. Dr. Lim? Her voice dropped to 10 degrees. You listened to him. Well, we did and we do. He's professional and knows what he's doing. Why doesn't he talk to us? He's only a month newer than I am. Why him and not me? Joe averts my gaze. I think over the years, something we found when you have a group of diverse people who need to work together. It's hard to find the strength to trust sometimes, especially when the world hangs in the balance. It's a gradual process. I shrug. I don't see you making more than effort to bring him into the loop either. He's just there, and you still listen to him and everything, but he's still just this guy. And out the door, Joe's face was bald, and I remember eyes, tired lines. It's not an easy job, Molly. Mothers. Some people adapt better than others. Take what we can. That's the best we can do. You take the first shift, okay? I took the version. Sure thing, man. I'll see you in the morning. She smiles, the door closes slowly behind her. From inside the hut, it's impossible to tell when they break. The hut's a standard foundation issue end of the world concrete bunker. Windows are a luxury and safety cannot afford. Even now, waking up starts a kind of panic in me that I shouldn't have stayed as long as I did. That's too late, somehow, in a world has gone up in flames, thus without me. That morning, dreamless sleep. I wake up on the couch. I don't know how long I've slept. I have no memory of sleeping there, but I assume that in the way I dressed, I must have passed out during my watch. The ventilation's shot, and a quick walk around shows that I'm alone, with the exception of Cow, still as a stone, lying face up in his bunk. The door next to it remains locked and silent. He must have finally found a piece to sleep, so I loop around the back of the armory and take the stairs up to the roof. I smell coffee as I poke my head through the hatch. Jorge, picnic mat and all, looking none the worse for wear after last night's run. I can see the cracks. His hand moves a little too slowly, steering the coffee in his mug, and his eyes are lined with red rings. Jorge's injuries are more evident. His shirt is off and trails of grey skin peek from under the bandages inside his chest. Jorge, buns? Buns? Yes. Holding up a half-filled plastic lunchbox. The last of the supplies from the week's crop, pineapple jelly, rolls that Joe called and ran back. That funny? I laughed. Taking Joe's treats. I see it's a special occasion. Being alive is a special occasion, he says, moving over to make room for me on the mat. I sit and stretch my legs out, leaning on my elbows. Where's Mom and Dad? I ask. I think they went for a walk. The truck's not downstairs. Huh. Take a bun from the lunchbox in the wood. Any idea why? Nope. Probably felt they need some air. Not every morning that like this. He's right. Warm, almost less than so, or at least as warm as it can be on the wharf. And there's not a hint of clouds in the sky. The last dregs of morning fog hang over the horizon motionless. I bask, taking the rare sunshine. Last night treated you alright? Wait, last night treated you alright? Yes. Yeah, it's been worse. I swear Charlie had it worse than I did. I don't know how he does it and still has the nerves left to drive us all back. There's no way he didn't put a muscle in his head last night, keeping all his spells in order. Oh, I would call Charlie on the basement seat. Hands pressed against the aether. Field lines curling around him like water. Focus seems to read my mind. Couldn't see him up close, he chuckles. Old man was damn near speaking 2 words at once. So it's even a thing possible. Fuck. Well, Charlie said you almost died. Yeah? Okay. Don't seem very worried about it. Jorge doesn't respond. He finishes the rest of his breakfast in silence. The lunchbox empties. At length he gets up and tips it back his mug, letting the remainder of the brown sludge drip onto his tongue. Where is it difficult words from to put together? You were at the coast. You knew guy last night. Were you worried that the world was going to end? Sure, but not really. The threat was immediate. It's over, but they tell me you can't take much more like hits like this. No one can, Chica. He shakes his head sadly. No one can. I lean my head back and rest against Jordan's lap. Watch the sun rise over the moor. Feel its warmth seep into the damp concrete. Fog is thinner now, spreading up over the ground and upon seeing it obscure or view. I try to squeeze it away from my palm. Jorge chuckles, and yet the fog does not lift. Even as the sun rises, it clings to the edge of the water and climbs on the bushes and into the jagged tops of trees, still stubborn and unyielding. As much as we watch, it remains. A little bit of a romance going on here, eh? Or at least, you know, doesn't have to be a romance, but like at least a trustworthy friendship. A trusted friendship where you can just be comfortable with it. A comfortable, trusted friendship. Joe and Charlie come back a little while later. I hear them before I see them. The truck's characteristic putt-putt tucking in from the long road behind the woods, and after the garage open before they arrive. Charlie's holding something wet and small by the neck. A rabbit, explains Joe. I nod. Can't blame him for having a diversion here and there. After all, there's much else to do here. We have things to do. In the pantry, I hear the spreading of a plastic sheet. While I dust down the armory shelves, I hear Charlie prepare the carcass. A low humming tune on his lips. Sound slicing of pocket knife. Sticking into meat. Running water spoon. The buzz of the induction cooker. Meanwhile, I run through our stock of sigils, workings, batteries, and things, looking out for the black spots signaling impurity to white spots signaling discharge, the smeared ink signaling water damage. I skimmed through the blank tags just to check if they're there, as well as the accompanying stash of emergency sharpies. I checked the lights, I counted tools. Categorically in the 5 plastic shell tool boxes, I test the clips to make sure that they stay fast. I dig into the cupboard and bring out old digital vest into the garage where I spray them down with a hose. Joe in sweatpants and work shirt helps me hang them up to dry. She tells me she will put them back later. In the hut, I ding the alarm, yelling, "Test!" before I do, and clear, and I'm done. Busy work, prayer beats the mind. In the pantry, Charlie continues to cook the rabbit, bubbling off sauce and pan, sizzle and pop, all this stuff. By noon, he is done. I hear scrapping of cutlery, footsteps to the armory. He catches me with my hands wrapped in the wire. "You hungry, kid?" I take the offered fork in my mouth and taste. Peppered, the stringy meat sticks to my teeth in chunks, and I cough in surprise. Charlie treats my reaction with some concern. I hope it's not that bad. I don't do this often enough. He motions casually to the apparatus in my hands. If you're thinking of practice, it's alright. Continue tomorrow. Launch is a reminder of the wrapped stew and the sandwich. I said the pantry make a second, smaller one for dinner. Note, with some concern, the bread and cheese is running low. First, the bread and the ham peeled from the pre-sliced, tucked between layers of wax paper in the fridge. Lettuce from the Tupperware, then cheese and mayo, and another ham where a bread should go. Serving symmetry, I finished the remaining layers in the reverse order: cheese, mayo, lettuce, and peel, bread. I crimp the edges, kneading the crust together to catch the flex. In my mouth, the taste of rabbit lingers, persistent strips between my teeth, smoky aftertaste of Charlie's seasoning. As I prepare it, Charlie looks back from the sink, his brows arch. There are suds in his beard, and he wipes them off with his sleeve. Finish the sandwich presently. Charlie turns off the faucet and sits down in front of me. Is something wrong, Mole? Fine. I shake my head towards the gate. Are you shaking your head because you don't know the answer? Pick up the sandwich and set it down between 2 layers of cling film. Charlie continues. It's okay to not know. Okay to be afraid. Last night was rough. Sorry. Does not need to be sorry. Kid, you look awkwardly to the side. It's, well, hard to get used to all of this. I know it. You know it. In hell, you're just beginning. We were scared shitless. First time we went there too. We're all scared in there still. Top behind us 6, 12, and 13. If you ever feel like it's a little too much to bear, you don't have to talk to us. Just maybe let us know. Try to smile. We can work something out. Behind his brow, I can see him try very hard not to say the obvious. We need you. We need people like you. Don't leave. Stay. I don't think I have any intention of leaving, I say. We use this. Because I worked in the long run, but now I think it's important to take care. Keep yourself grounded, alright? Just do as you have. You're doing well. Keep on doing well. Keep at it, and then maybe the fear won't seem so great any longer. Does that make sense, kid? I say nothing. From the looks of it, I'd say you should lay off practice for a while, but I'm not going to stop you if you do or feel it's better or feel that it's better or something. Up to you, kid. He gets up and then leaves. When Charlie is gone, I clean up and return to the armory, sandwich wrapped in my jacket. Nonetheless, he sees me as I cross the common area, locking the massive wires and cotton tape to my room. He watches me and says nothing. I close the door. Do not need the apparatus to be switched on. In the dark, my hands trace the containment pattern in front of the wires, between the wires, making forms. Now, not so much as physically reinforcement, but as subconscious product of thought processes more felt. The mantras are in my throat, too, pulsing and dumb. Do without doing is the base state. I dredge and project the memory of the screen in the darkened theater, 5,000 meters on each side, spanning beyond my vision, spanning bigger across than I can see, flying black and blazing static, and on it I see myself descending pale wide lines of aura probing neutral repose, flowing between me and the pattern on the ground. Gradually, I enlarge the screen and extend the lines. The screen has 3 sides now, 3 dimensions of the body's chakras and ending dimensions and form. screen showing the ghost of me, showing the ghost of the pattern, dissipation of the thing in the jar. Ghost of me, the pattern, the jar, again in new ways, the screen twists, meant to accommodate a new perspective. And lo, the screen itself, video screens, the ones I saw last night, were small and blurred and lined with fuzz. Raspy voices. It's here. Concentration breaks. Zero lines wobble, bend, play out in a million ways and break contact. I open my eyes, seeing darkness, the real one, seeing nothing, and seeing the dead machine punched like a gargoyle watching with blind dish eyes. Sighing, I close my eyes and begin anew. Once again, with the screen, once with the screen. Once again with the line. Once again with the pattern, spreading, and the neutral repose. Sorry. Once again with the soul. The screen stretches before me, like extrude lines to make the pattern. The pattern is itself. Plants on my limbs, shape of my form. Thoughts flow between the two. The figure and ground figure. Figure ground. Why? Why? I feel myself overflowing the ground with the figure on the ground and the ground become one. Undistinguishable yin yang, up down, gray. I look down at the pattern on the screen in my mind, like looking into a pool. My own eyes stare back at me and I see myself now. Why? The pattern stares back. Ask. Tell the thief. Ask the pattern what went wrong last night. Absolutely nothing, it tells me. And why am I so shaken? It's the fall of it, really. In darkness, the mind sees what the eyes cannot. That's everything. Yeah, it's like everything went right, but like you are aware of how quickly it could have gone horrible, and what it means if it goes horrible. So yeah, I think that's what your mind is just trying to like absorb, so to speak. Oh, why? It didn't involve me. Maybe because it didn't involve me. No, that can't be right. Charlie is right. It's fear, pure simple fear. Of the spectacle, fear of failure, fear of lack of success, fear of irreversible ego death within a 200-kilometer radius, fear of being responsible, fear of being not responsible, fear of fear itself. Fear of loved ones dying. Loved ones. Returning, not knowing if they make it next time they need it. Kind hands on tired lap, tired faces, their eyes. Understandable, promised the pattern. Let us remain in this loop for a little more so that you can know how you are afraid. I do. Good. Now from inside the fear, safe from the source of fear, I want you to try again. Try again, broke free, breathe in and descend. First time the charm. Contact loops into a silver form on the screen in my mind. The me behind the screen definitely tweaks invisible controls, micro movements in muscles, breath control and body, molded into one singular manipulation of the lines. I trace the pattern now, more in thought than in form. Containment, concealment, aversion, protection. I loop through the patterns one by one, flipping through counts of control mantras, the Lord's Prayer, Lorem Ipsum, Billie Holiday, mind and body, move as one, sensing part, take a hold. I breathe, pose, things work out fine. As if for what feels like hours. I hear Hawkins' footsteps, sense his hesitation, his knock was held. Even in trance, I try to signal, it's okay, I think, alright. Soon the footsteps go away. I can remember eating the sandwich. Eventually, I fall asleep. I love this. I think it's really cool. I think it's a really cool, like, at the end it's not that deeply connected to, I mean it is dealing with 2696-1, right? But I do like seeing, it's nice world building, it's nice character building of like, let's see what some of the people who have to, keep this thing in check, how they are on a daily basis and how they act. Hallowed in heaven, hallowed be thy name. I run along corridors whose ceilings are as high as my head. My headlamp flares, illuminating my breath, cutting into the jagged corners of the walls. But really, at this point, there's no need for a light. All the houseness of the house. Even though the goggles, I can taste the A-rad leaping from the walls. Feel central feng shui engineering strain under the pressure of redirecting the immense energy, terrible energy emanating from within. The walls scream. I leap over a pitfall lined with foam, acoustic spikes, stumble on the jutting inscribed beams. There's two more of my things which stream out behind me, clouds of black sparks. Blaze behind me, somewhere in the dark and the streaming in the cold, and she's catching up fast. Contact means imminent death. The floor drops, I stumble. My headlamp clouds ahead of me. I see three lights staring back at me, two eyes and a mouth, opening wide to deliver my petition. My head is screaming, your kingdom come, your kingdom come. Inside a voice catching on the syllables as the lady screams, shattered glass filling vessel of thought overflowing. No, 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 no! Dearest, the shadows I live with all numberless, close to control man from the depths. Without thinking, I figured all 7 of my defensive wards on overload, throwing the full brunt of Dash One's attack back into her. Her fall timber creaks as the architecture channels my spell into success. The lady blinks, eyes shut, temporarily blinded, and I back up on my hands, grappling against the uneven control mantra spilling from my lips in full vocalization now. Putting the last dregs of juice out the wards until all that's left are fizzles of smoke from the pouches in my chest and back. The screams are softer now, but getting louder. Up and up, up. I backpedal, get up, to begin to fall on my own feet. Tumbling, tumbling. She opens her eyes and again. I fall. Miles below me spreads a darkness like ink. Above me a cloud of smoke. Around is the house, or what recognizable is of its crazy jutting architecture, and as I bring myself to my bearings, I realize that I do not have much of myself left before. Dream continues, falling, then abruptly rising now, and a little dings, cloud envelops me, smiling vapor and all. My vision becomes a false tall sandstorm on a basement television screen. It fades, showing a face, the face of a lady. This time her face is softer face, human face. And on it are the lines that make of not only herself, but all that she has touched. At once I understand. It's a construct. All people are. A tall ball of memories and emotions clustered as a function across time and localized space. Dreaming, as it were, like I am. Robbing natural repose. She gestures for me to seek. Now the picture is sky. Look at the world. Space. Sensation of it. Patchwork green and falling around the hills beyond. Dark bushes marking the edges of forest. Wind sweeps invisible, betraying the most perfect stillness. Thin roads being the lives of other people through the landscape. Nothing else remains. In equal clarity, the house itself is small, the heart smaller still. They escape the shadow of hills, crouched on the edge of the plain, unassuming plain. The road is barely visible, but I know the bumps and twists and turns on the contours of my mind, drummed in the back of my head on the old van seat, know of its transect the segment between the screen and the tree trunk, flared wide by the high beams of midnight. A strand, a root approaching bedrock, a sombering beast, the house itself built on conviction, its architecture paradoxical, maniacal, internally it twists like a snake consuming itself, compacted into concentric squares of mathematical figure. The lady knows this well, and as I squint my mind's eye, I can almost see her face in the snakes, trace her eyes in the nested squares. The house, the lady, the landscape I have known only in the stories and dreams of the screens alike, because after a certain perspective, we become one and the same, do they not? But it is important now. The lady. Oh, the lady gestures and the scene shifts. As a mouse stalks the cat, fold onto the top of a slide ridge, essentially the hard. Cat, right? Then you see how the answer. In face its eyes and bowels, a complete hole, a small beast. Here's the walls are bare and the floors are even and clean, because here monsters are fought, and mind must not wander and the spirit must not kill. Also they say. Now on the dark, a thin man lies awake in his work clothes. He rests on plastic folders holding question in numbers of structures and form. The shadow of the intangible hangs over him. Secrets within secrets, doors within doors. He sleeps with his head in his hand and sighs. Perhaps one day he will have the courage to learn. In the next room, a woman tidies by candlelight. First, she arranges the items on her desk. Markers, blank tags. I assume this is the... If I'm not mistaken, I'm assuming this is the past, like before she died. Books, picture frames, each in their proper place. Then she reaches for the calendar that hangs above, tears up a single page. She folds a single page into quarters, placing it in a green plastic bin below her desk. Below she blows the candle out. She looks at the picture frame which a young olive-skinned girl sits. Nope, never mind. This is probably her team. She closes her eyes, whispers a short word or a name, returns to her bed and sleeps. Strains of music from another. The door is ajar. Shirtless, a younger man nurses a new wound on his side as he jumps to a beat in the dark. He climbs up and down minor scales melodically, then chromatically. Beside him, he has uncorked his secret device for the first time in months. Its acid tank fresh on the roof of his mouth. Together, the smell reeks with music as incense before a temple. For the first time in months, he forgets where he is, and his mind is still. A man with the countenance of a lion remains awake. He sits cross-legged with a book in his lap, eyes focused on reading. He has seen the words too many times to do so. Besides, his mind has grown too hard. His fingers turn to page one at a time. He relishes in the act. The light in his desk burns white and unyielding through the night. He does not sleep. Okay, almost done. And the ancient man, unmoving in his cot, is not asleep either, for he does not need to. His thoughts are unknowable, nor does he process them except to talk rather knowledge. The pattern that braces and braced his existence, his dharma, his reason for existence. From this and his silence he derives strength. Today he is more mind than matter, but he will recover soon and be stronger when he is needed again. Lastly, the acolyte tossing and turning in dreams, seeing others, seeing herself. The lens foiled by memory. What of her, then? What of me? I look to the lady for answers to the things that I already know. Smiles a memory of a smile and disappears. There are no further. Now we have a video log. Transcript of video log 3 from provisional site 2696, the hut. Beginning of transcript, the video shows a white wall, presumably located in the pantry of provisional site 2696. On a stool, spray painted blue, sits a woman in her early 20s with brown eyes and shaved brown hair. There's an analog clock behind her, almost out of view. Reads 1:39. Timestamp of the video shows that it's exactly 2 in the morning. Date is the 1st of July. The woman is holding the video camera close to her face, speaks softly to the video camera, as though no one is being heard. Hey, you doing okay? Listen, I just want to talk this down in the record in case I forget. Oh, this is her tape. Got her tape. I've been talking to the others and coming to terms with what happened, and I think I kind of understand. It's the gesture of it, or the form of it, or it's just the language of everything. Fuck. Point is, it's not so scary out there. I don't know if this sounds cliche, but we're all each doing our own thing to survive and coming up together. It's something. Bigger than us, between us. All is more than the sum of our parts, I guess. I don't know. Okay, so I lied. It's scary out there. Yeah. And we're not always going to be able to throw back 100%. The important thing is that we can do and grow and we try again and we do good. That's what we do. Keep doing good. Now, I don't know entirely what your deal is. I don't know you. You know me. I'm just talking to a screen here. Oh, what the hey? Maybe you're scared of some shit? Of us? Or the monsters we got to fight? Hell, even Charlie's scared too. Point is, we're on this together. And even if you don't want to be in, that's okay. We all have our levels, and we all go to find them. And understand if you don't want to join. Like that's entirely okay. Just wanted to let you know that we'll be here if you want to. Those who are going to join. Does that make sense? I thought I did in my head. Well, that's all I came to say. See you, I guess. All the out. The room reaches behind the camera and squeezes. The deepest heard the recording and ends. My question is, wait, what did you say? retrieved from professional side. Yeah, so yeah, she's dead. Oh boy. Probably is dead. Most likely. What a shame. But this was awesome. I really enjoyed 2696. I think again, hard to get into at the beginning because it's like the containment procedure is like so vast, and it's also spoken in a scientific way that I cannot get along with. I think like I'm too stupid to understand. But then afterwards it was really fun.